Welcome to Hobie on YouTube. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, check this out. I recently won this on auction. It's an old Boker scout knife. Already had one very similar to it, but what inspired me to bid for this one and win it eventually was that it had the old gas tank wrench in the screwdriver. If you're not familiar with these gas tank wrenches or keys in the screwdrivers of old utility knives, watch my video on an old vintage K-bar I had that had one. I not only give you the history of Union Cutlery Company and K-bar, but also go into great detail about what this was all about. And I remember I put in a lot of work on that video. It had pictures of old Model Ts and pictures of their old acetylene gas-fired headlamps and the tanks on the running boards and sound effects and all these things. And here it is 5 years on, and I don't even think it has 3,000 views. So what are you going to do? But if you're interested in this and want to learn all about it and what it was, watch that video. It's really cool. So anyway, I wanted to get this because I think that's really nice. You don't see that very often, and it does mean the knife was from the 20s. And again, I had one like it, but I wanted the key. When I got it, I started noticing all sorts of differences between this one and the one I already had. And I'll open them up here in a second, show you those differences. But it surprised me because they're both Boker USA knives. They're both from the 20s. They're the older ones that don't have the lines in the bolsters. A little later on they line the bolsters, so a really old one like this is going to have the smooth bolsters. But there were some pretty big differences, and I'll just show you those. Let me kind of open all the tools here safely so we're not putting too much pressure on the springs. That one all the way out, that one halfway out, this one all the way out, and this one halfway out. So let me just lay that down for a second, and let's get this out of here and get this one out. Now this is the one I already had. So let me just open it up. What I like to do when I open these, never open any tools on the same spring halfway each because it puts too much pressure on these old springs. See how you're going to be bowing out the spring from the pivot here. If you do it from both sides, you know, you might risk cracking a spring or something. I've never broken a spring that way, but I try to be very careful when I open my knives to take a picture of them or something like that to you know, have this one all the way open so the pressure's off the spring, and then open this one halfway, and same over here all the way and then halfway. Reason I do it that way, it's a lot easier to get in the frame than if the blade was sticking all the way out here. Anyway, I digress. So here's the other one, and let me just show you some differences. We'll keep the new one over here on the left and the one I already had over here on the right. First of all, this one says Boy Scout on the badge, and this one says Scout Knife. No big deal there, just a slight difference on the banner. Shields are the same. The bone looks a little different. The jigging looks slightly different to me, but again, it's not that different. I did notice right off that the bails are different. The one I just got has a little thicker, more elaborate bail. This one is much more delicate, right at the pin. And the one I got with the Presto Light key looks to be a little thinner to me. Frame just seems a little thinner. Maybe that's down to the center spacer there. See those brass center spacers, how much thicker this one is? But it was the tools. First of all, there's the screwdriver, cap lifter, and on the one I already had, it's a much broader, heavier screwdriver with a broader tip. See that? The blades are different. This one has a broader blade that's typical of, you know, of a U.S. scout knife. This one has a more narrow, pointed blade, more typical of a European utility knife or tourist knife. The can openers are very different. You got a much narrower, more delicate can opener here. Again, a much broader, heavier, curved can opener there. The punch or the awl looks pretty much the same. I do notice a little curved shoulder here that I'm not seeing on this one, the newer one. And the newer one also, maybe, I say newer, the newer to me, the one I just bought. The tip might have been broken and reprofiled, or it might have just been shaped a little differently. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same style all. So what's going on here? I mean, they're both Boker USA knives, right? And they're both from the 1920s. Why so different? Well, you know, they both carry the tang stamp H. Boker & Co.'s Improved Cutlery. This is a tang stamp that Boker used from 1869 up until the mid-30s, and it was the only tang stamp that was used on both European-made knives, German-made knives, and U.S. Boker knives. So it made me think at first that maybe this one, I think I've kind of crossed them up, maybe the one that I just got with the narrower tools and the narrower blade was a German-made knife. But then I remembered where I'd seen this knife. So I dug around and I found this old catalog cut. This is from, what is it called? The Iron Age catalog or something from the 1920s, actually 1920. And they have a page in there on the Valley Forge factory and knives. Of course, Valley Forge was owned by Boker at that time. And they show their factory in Newark, New Jersey. Just a quick rundown on Boker USA history, because it's actually an older company than Boker of Solingen, Germany, and a lot of people don't realize that. But Herman Boker, one of the Boker brothers, actually came to New York, and in 1837 started Herman Boker and Company, and started importing knives. And they didn't make knives; they just imported them. But you know, they didn't start. Heinrich Boker didn't start making knives in Solingen until 1869. Herman Boker and Company bought Valley Forge, which was a U.S. knife maker, in 1899 and started making both brands, Boker and Valley Forge, at their factory in Newark, New Jersey. And so there's a picture of it there on the catalog cut. And there you can see this knife. It's the exact same knife. There you can see the gas tank wrench key in the screwdriver. You can see the narrower blade, the more delicate can opener. It says Boy Scout. The only difference is they show the bail at the front end. That's often a mistake. They may have sold them both ways, but I've often seen that. I think New York Knife Company's first Boy Scout knife comes to mind, and all the pictures, that are hand drawn, you always see the bail up here. In all the ones you really find, the bail's back here. So I don't know. Maybe that's something they sold both ways, but that's the only difference between that image and this knife. So what's going on there is this. This knife was made in the Newark, Boker USA, Newark factory, which was closed in 1820 when Boker and Valley Forge moved their production to the Maplewood, New Jersey factory. So this knife is somewhere after 1921. And that makes sense because in the 1928 Boker catalog, there it is. And you can see it's got the same style can opener, same style broader screwdriver cap lifter, broader blade, etc. So this is that knife in the 1928 catalog. We know that that was made in the Maplewood factory. This knife was made in the Newark factory, so it's got to be from 1920 or earlier. And that makes this certifiably my oldest Boker pocket knife, which to a knife geek like me, that's really cool stuff. I hope you enjoyed that, and a little history on Boker USA there, and some of these differences between this very, very early Boker USA knife and then this other one from 1921 or later. Again, if you're interested in learning more about Presto Light keys, these gas tank wrenches in the screwdrivers, be sure to watch my video. It's pretty fun. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and have fun collecting.